Tulshi Sen is an inspiring global teacher who studies what makes leaders tick and helps them and us silence the internal chatter in our minds so we can build visions, live our visions, and create an enchanted life. And it is my pleasure to welcome Tulshi Sen to Studio 4 to tell us more.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Ancient secrets have been with us for many years. All the masters have told us about some of the ancient secrets, but you decided to bring them into the modern world. Why?
Because I built a global business. I started training people in international trade. The biggest stumbling block in their success was their stress level, their mental muscles. You know, today you can learn business. You don't have to go to college to learn business. You can Google it and you can know. But the most important thing is to build that mental muscle, to build that consciousness, the confidence that can lead you into building a life and a business or a career.
Where do you start? I know you do a lot of work in Aboriginal communities and work with people who have come up the hard way. Where do you start to build that consciousness or to tap into that consciousness to produce thoughts that make your world better?
I'll tell you, Fanny, thought makes us, thought breaks us. All day long, we carry thoughts, and all our thoughts are from the external. What as a reactive, like what happens to us, and we work from the external. If we have a degree, we think we can get a job. If I want to build a business, what do I know? But you have to work from the absolute, from the inside. Thought, where does our thought come from? Is my thought a reaction to something, or is my thought a product of my dream? And dreams come from the inside. We have forgotten the ability to dream. Our dreams, according to all the cosmogony of all the literature, of all the scriptures, everything was a dream, came out from the absolute to the relative, from the cause to the effect. The thoughts that we have today are effects of previous thoughts. So we are perpetuating the same problem, and we wonder what's happening. So the masters taught us how to go back to the core of your being, to think the thoughts that you do want to think, and not the thoughts that you don't want to think.
So, in a sense, consciousness is free if you can tap into it from the past, the present, and the future.
Exactly.
So you're right there, present. Obviously, they always tell us to be here now, be present. Our thoughts produce our world. You've made that very clear in here. What are the ancient secrets?
The ancient secrets is only to go back. See, you can read all you want.
Mere knowledge is not enough. You said that.
So my teacher, my master, has told me, you're a donkey with a load of books. I read all the books. I went to law school. I did my master's in commerce. I read all the philosophy. But still, I was there, the same place I started. So the first order of the day to build a life is to know who you are. Where are you going? I ask people, where are you going? I mean, not home, but where are you going? And that is a question that boggles their mind. And we have to go deep into not our mind, what makes our mind think what we want to think.
And there's a difference between mind and consciousness, correct?
Yes, because I'll tell you what, you can have, some people sleep with an open eyes. Their retina and everything is working. Sometimes you drive through a place, and your eyes are connected to your brain, but you don't see it. So your brain is connected to the mind, which is the part of your neuron system. You still don't see it till it is connected to your consciousness, which is the very core of your being. Because a dead body does have all the parts and yet cannot see.
Why are so many today disconnected from consciousness?
Because
not that we haven't been for centuries, but why so much today?
The fact is because our dependency on the external, dependency on the outside, not the dependency on me. The belief. We don't believe in ourselves. We believe in anybody else that teaches us.
We also sit under what you call, at times, the wish-fulfilling tree.
Yes.
We sit under the tree, make wishes.
Yes.
They don't come, so we make another wish.
Yes.
I wish I'd win the lotto.
Yes, yes.
I wish I'd find a handsome man.
Yes. Yes.
So how do you turn a wish into fulfillment, or should we just let somebody else take care of that?
See,
what?
Every thought that we entertain manifests. A worry is a thought. A worry is a vision. When we worry, we're successful in visioning. When we worry, we vision, and there is no past, present, or future in a worry. It is now. We suffer through the worry. We experience what we are going to experience 10 years from today. But that is a vision. So because that comes from our consciousness.
Well, we're powerful. What we think and believe we can create.
Yeah, we're
very good at it.
The power is controlling that. What this book teaches is the 4 secrets. The first secret is to know who you are. Second secret, to believe who you are. Third secret is to take ownership of yourself. And the 4th secret is becoming it. You have to become the truth. You are the truth. You can be whatever you want to be. Do whatever you want to do. And have whatever you want to have. And most people consider it as a tall order because they cannot believe it.
So if you live in a TikTok world, and you give an example in the book, I believe it's in this book, about a little frog who gets picked up by a crane and dropped into a well where there is another frog.
Yes.
And they have a conversation.
This is that old story. This frog was from the ocean, and he fell into this well, and he could not convince the frog of the well that there is an ocean which is infinite. So till a flood happened in that area, and they were both lifted out of the well, and he saw the ocean, and he became the ocean. These 4 proclamations, the 4 eternal secrets, will show you the ocean of your life and will bring you to your own being. Who is this person that is speaking? Who am I? What am I doing here? Where am I going from here? All stress will just disappear like a cloud in front of a burning sun.
But if you live in a cage and are pretty happy in your cage and you're afraid to go outside, you're afraid to take a risk, you're afraid you'll go broke tomorrow if you make an investment.
Yeah, it's very hard to get them out of a cage.
You're afraid to love.
I'll tell you what, there was a bird, if you noticed, if you have a bird in your home and it lives in a cage and the cage door is open, the only way to get back that bird in the cage is shut this cage door. He'll come screaming to tell you, listen, don't take my cage away, open it. And then it'll get in and still chatter at you and said, why did you shut my cage door? The hardest thing for a person to learn is that he can be free. He can do anything he wants to do. And this cannot be learned by reading. This cannot even be learned. It's only meditation. The 4 proclamations are the 4 eternal principles of finding yourself and knowing who you are, your own infinite power.
Tulshi Sen is an inspiring global teacher who studies what makes leaders tick and helps them and us silence the internal chatter in our minds so we can build visions, live our visions, and create an enchanted life rather than... But we're very good at forming limitations, as you know.
Yes.
We're not as good at breaking free because we have anxiety and doubts and fears, and they formed when we were in our little high chairs eating our pablum.
Oh, yeah. Since we were a kid, we've been taught, we have been taught to blame. Like you fell down and you blamed the floor. And so somebody beat up the floor for you. And that developed a limitation that we couldn't walk. That's why we fell. So the boogeyman was created. If you don't eat your cereals, the boogeyman is going to come and get you. So the fear, anxiety was developed from childhood. And these four eternal principles takes away the cause of the anxiety, the cause of the stress. And they are as eternal, they have no beginning and no ending.
Well, the Gandhis of the world, the Mandelas of the world, the resilient people in the world, no matter what their circumstance, they experience some kind of joy and abundance. It's quite mind-boggling, isn't it? And they stay the course.
Exactly. Circumstances actually do not make us. It reveals reveals to us what we've been thinking. Our circumstances are but our thoughts reflected to us.
So if your doctor said to you tomorrow, Tulshi, you have a year to live, give or take.
Yes.
Not sure.
Yes.
And I assume you're not afraid of dying.
Absolutely
because you're
not.
evolved. But if you weren't that evolved, you were afraid of dying, and your doctor said, you know, we've done all the math, and pretty much year, maybe two. How would you handle that?
I say, doctor, that's your opinion.
Ah, I like that. How do you know for sure? All the tests say.
That's your opinion. You're talking about my body. You're not talking about my consciousness, which made the body. You have no access to my consciousness. You have access. Our body was made by our consciousness. I have access to my consciousness with the four eternal principles, and I can dictate to my body how it should behave.
So when you're dealing with a room of corporate executives, and I know you do a lot of work with corporations, and you float that thought, or something like that, what kind of response do you get?
Actually, it starts with skepticism. But remember, a corporate executive is as anybody else, scared, worried, more so because they have many bosses, the stockholders. The whole idea is, you have to remember, our consciousness, when I tell them that you have power over yourself, you don't have to depend on the external. They don't believe it first. But when they go through them, you can't believe it. It's impossible. And I know that's the truth. But when you have gone through the practice of the four proclamations, it is impossible not to believe it.
Well, the great leaders I know and respect, certainly the business leaders I know and respect, they trust their gut, they take risks, they laugh a lot, they have fun in business, they're passionate, and they really believe they can do it when everybody tells them they can't. When the bank says, sorry, calling your loan, they go, well, that's not a big deal, we'll handle it.
I'll tell you, in the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln, it was, when he was going bad, the war was going badly, he used to crack jokes, and this like a smoking room. He was actually laughing. Laughter actually humiliates the mind. The mind is controlling you. So when you start laughing at the situation, the mind gets embarrassed and says, what, are you insulting me? The mind right now controls us. We have to control the mind.
And you meditate, I know, and you meditate on four principles, which are, and I know we can't absorb them all at once, but we have 1 minute, so.
First one is consciousness is the creator. The second one is everything that we touch, smell, see, taste is consciousness. Third one is I am consciousness. My consciousness is the creator. The fourth one is I am consciousness, and I create.
And I create, and you have to work at that a bit because the little chatter monkey in your brain says, get a grip.
That absolutely will not let you believe it. So that's why I have this one-day seminar to actually help you believe in yourself that you create.
And to get there, and you're doing one, I know. I know you did one on the weekend, a corporate setup. And this Saturday, October 4th, H.R. McMillan Space Center, 10 to 4. Tickets at Touchstone Seminars.
And the Banyan Bookstore, they held.
And Banyan, okay. The 4 Ancient Secrets of Success for Today's World.
Thank you.
I thank you. And it's in book form too, right?
Yes.
Coming up.